on my camera for that matter, right? Good. Right. So this is me, right? I think probably you can recall me, like, we met last time, right? In the last orientation that you had in the last Saturday, as I could remember. Yes. Okay, good. Right, good. Now, so I won't be able to, I won't need to introduce myself again, right? So I'm working as a senior lecturer attached to the Department of Industrial Management. And feel free to connect with me if you wish to via my LinkedIn as well, right? Good. Right. Now, just to, before we head into today's discussion, right, about statistic for data science, just to get a bit of idea about the audience who are presented here, right? Just want to know, like, how many of you have, let's say, done statistics and, statistics, right, in your prior studies? I mean, just maybe raise of hands or whatever, right? I'm sure there's quite a few, right? Okay, right. Okay, let's see. One of my friend was there. One, yes. 2, 3. Yep. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. Very good. So we have around 8, 9. Yes, more people. Yes. Right. Around 9 people have raised their hand. Others? Anyone else who have done statistics in your bachelor's or maybe in your prior studies, right? So around 10 people were there earlier, right? Okay, good. Right. Some of you may have another 10, 11, 12. Yes. 13. Okay. Right. Okay. Around 13. Is it? Okay. 14. People who have done statistics in your prior studies, right? 16. 17. Okay. 18. Yep. So let me assume around 25 people, right? 25 of you, right? 19, yes. And one of my friends is giving the thumbs up, right? Around 20 here, right? Good. Right. Great. Yes. Okay. Okay. Another one. Okay. Around, let's say 20. So which means around, all right. So many of you have, okay, some of you have done. So let me say around 25, right? Okay. 25. You can put down your hands, right? Good. So around 25 of you have, let's say, have done the, have followed statistics in your whichever the level at your prior studies, right? That's good. So let's say if we have around 75 people, which means 1/3 have some background in statistics, right? Yeah, and there are more people raising their hand, right? Good. So around, let's say, let me take around this 25, right? So, right, okay. So other, I think, I mean, just I feel like, majority, like, again, 2/3 of you have, like, may not have done statistics in your prior studies, right? That's fine, right? Very good, right? So basically, okay, so when I'm actually then, what I'm trying to do is, when I'm actually doing this program, I will just assume that not many of you have that statistical background. So under that assumption, I will proceed, right? So I might again touch upon some basic areas if that's the case, right? Good, right. Again, now my second question: how many of you are familiar with R? How many of you have used R or familiar with R? R is a programming language that uses to do some statistical analysis if required. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Yep. 9, 10, 11. Okay. Okay. 11, 12. Let's say 12. All right. Around 13. 13. Let's say around 13, 15 of you, right? Around 15. Let me take around 15, right? Okay. More people again joining in. Yep. So which means around 20% of you are a bit of familiar with using R for statistical analysis. So you are familiar with that, right? Good. Okay, that's fine. So which means that again around 80% of you are not familiar with R. That's again fine, right? So basically, my friends, in this particular lecture series, right, that we are planning to do, right? So we'll be touching upon some of the important areas in statistics, right? And more or less I'll be using R as a tool to do some the analysis of the data. I mean, the basic idea is to give you that fundamental understanding about statistics and then give some hands-on experience in using a tool like R for doing some statistical investigations for the analysis. Basics ones, like not the in detail, but some basics understanding, because the rest of the the modules that will be covering in the preceding trimesters will be based upon, or maybe assume that you have that caliber and the knowledge in statistics, and you have some programming skills in analyzing some of the data using some of the tools like R that we are going to discuss, right? Good. Okay, right, good. So now, yeah, so with that, I'm just trying to see how where I can touch upon. So maybe I'll start with the very basics, right? Because I think still two-thirds of the people are still not, have had some, better exposure into the statistics, it seems, right? Good, great. So, friends, like now I will upload this into the PGLMS as well, right? You can put down your hands, right? Thank you so much, everyone. Right, appreciate that you are raising your hand and giving participating with the discussion and providing the feedback that is required. Right, good. Now, friends, like now this is the topic outline that we are planning to do, right? So, sorry, any questions so far? Yes, are we all good? Right, seems to be all good, right? Fantastic, brilliant, right? Good. Right. Now, friends, like, now I will share this document with you, right? This is more or less the outline, the topic outline that I'm planning to cover during the 15 weeks that has been assigned for this particular course module, right? So you can see in the session number 1 today, we'll be doing the very basics of statistics, like, because as I can observe, like, almost two-thirds of you are not coming from the statistical background. So which means that we need to lay some ground, the fundamental concepts at the very beginning, right? So I'll be touching upon not everything, but some of the important basic, the information about the data statistical analysis, right? So primarily we'll be looking into the data measurements and the visualization, right? So we'll have a very brief introduction into statistics as to what the statistics is all about, right? And we will also discuss what type of data that we encounter generally. I mean, again, not in detail, but some specific areas, very broad, data categorization will be discussing there. At the same time, how do you measure the data? What are the different ways that we can measure the data? And the last one, data presentation, graphs and the charts, I may not be touching upon in the session number 1 or today's session. Rather, I'll be taking that to our second week or the second session that we'll be conducting on the preceding weeks, right? Where it's about the descriptive statistics, right? So there, my friends, I will be, using R to show you how to visualize some of the data. Again, some basic things like, histograms, scatter plots, line plots, pie charts, petro charts. Like, we will introduce as to what they are first. And then subsequently, we will also discuss how this kind of different visualization can be conducted using R. I mean, for that, I might give you some resources where you can refer to, and then you are required to download R, and if possible, R Studio, whatever the the yes, whatever the right, whatever the like the guidelines, I'll be providing you that so that you need to download R and if possible R Studio into your devices, right? Good. And then, my friends, like our third session will be looking into the descriptive statistics, right? Now, then again, like these are some fundamental concepts in the statistics. Things like the things that are used to measure the central tendency, things like the mean, median, and the mode. And at the same time, we'll also discuss about the dispersion or the distribution of the data, things like the range, variance, standard deviation, right? At the same time, things like coefficient of variation, those things will be discussed in the under the descriptive statistics. At the same time, like maybe referring to the normal distribution, we also discuss about things like the skewness and the kurtosis, right? So if you do not know any of these words, my friends, don't worry. we'll be discussing them in detail in the respective session that is been listed in the schedule, as you can see here. Right, good. The week number 4 and 5 are very important, the weeks, because we'll be discussing about the probability, right? So we'll be talking about the general probability theories and the rules. At the same time, we'll also discuss about some probabilitical aspect, like the conditional probabilities kind of things we'll be discussing over the week number 4 and 5, right? Again, when it comes to the week number 6, that's going to be extension of this probabilitical concept that we are going to discuss over the week number 4 and 5, where we'll talk about things like the discrete random variables, continuous random variables, probability density function, cumulative probability density functions, expected values, Poisson distribution, right? Those things to be covered in the week number 6. And week number 7, we'll be talking about the continuous probability distribution. Under that, we'll be talking about the uniform distribution, right? Good. Now, week number 8 is a very important, week, because, based upon what you are going to study up until week number 7 will be tested in the week number 8. This is going to be a class test, around 2-hour class test, right? So I'm hoping to have the week number 8 on a physical lecture, on a physical setting, right? So let us see how we can arrange that. So that's the plan for the week number 8. And this assessment number 1 will account for around 20 to 30%, right? So if you guys do well with the assessment number 1, that's a class test, right? I'll be allocating 30% of that for the final grading. Whereas, if you had some difficulties or challenges in, not many of you scored well for the examination, I might, bring that to 20%, right? But I'm sure that everyone can score well so that we can go for 30% for the assessment number 1. That's for the class test, right? Good, right. And week number, the 9 and 10 again, important, the weeks, because we are going to discuss about the continuous probability distribution, about the normal distribution on this week number 9 and 10, right? How you measure the probabilities, in a given range, like, what kind of things that need to be done and all that will be testing in the week number 8 and 9 and 10, right? Good, right. And week number 11 is about the sampling and sampling distribution. Week number 12 is about the confidence interval estimation. Week number 13 is hypothesis testing, right? Hypothesis testing. And week number 15 is a linear regression, right? That's going to be the outline for the lecture that we are going to discuss right now, right? Good. Right. So before we start today's session, my friends, are there any questions, concerns, clarification that you want to have? Right.
Sir, will the assessment will be paper-based?
Yes. The assessment will be paper-based. Like, there will be like, written test in the assessment number 1. And the final assessment, it's going to be a paper-based, where you have to come for the university for the examination. And, it's going to be a 3-hour paper, approximately, yes, 3-hour paper that, will be graded out of 100, and that will be averaged to whatever the required percentage from there onwards, right? Okay. Good question, right? Great. Right. Any further questions? I see this as message from someone. In real world, Python was used by many companies for analytics rather than why using R. I am familiar with Python, my R, but in corporate level, he said he didn't know why R. Likewise, that's why I asked those similar. What, right? Okay, right. So basically, if you look into R versus Python, R is primarily developed to cater for the statistical analysis, right? Yes, Python have that you can use for the analysis as well, but at the same time, like you can do other things with the other programming as well with the Python, right? But in our syllabus, like considering the the basic to actually like because in using R you will be able to. This is the thing, like now today could be R. now you may be using Python, but maybe after the 2 3 years time you might have a different language, right? So I don't think that the language really matters. What matters is like that you have a bit of ideas how to perform the analysis using the whichever the language, right? Having said that, yes, I know that some of the organization uses Python, but still most of the research level, right? We uses R for statistical analysis because I mean the basic statistical analysis, some machine learning and all that you'll be using the Python. That's all good, right? But some in-depth statistical analysis we generally still uses R in our research work, right? Not only mine, I'm saying like because with my experience in Australia as well, right? We use a lot of R for in-depth statistical analysis, so that's part of the reason that we are using R. Having said that, yes, you are. If you are, I mean, once you learn R, the statistical analysis. If you want to use learn Python, please feel free to learn, and there's no restrictions on learning any languages. Having said that, again, as I mentioned, language doesn't sometimes doesn't really matter, but rather what matters is you understand the concept. But that's a very important question that you have raised, right? Yes. So maybe to a certain extent, we'll be using Python, but we'll take the basic understanding using the Python. Sorry, R, right? Good. Right. Right. Just give me 1 second. Meantime, if you have any questions, let me know, right? Okay. Right. Are there any further questions, my friends? Are there any further questions? There's another question, right? Okay. Yes, the recordings. I'm actually now recording this in the cloud because we that was the instruction that was given to us. I will be sharing the recordings in the LMS for your reference, right? Uh, so if possible, but I would encourage you to attend the lectures. I know that it's going to be a bit of challenging sometimes, right? But yes, I'll be recording and I'll be sharing the lecture notes with you. Right? Good, great, fantastic. Are there any further questions, my friends? Please feel free to ask any questions regarding the assessment or whichever we can anyway discuss, right? But if you have any doubts concerning the outline or any matter relating to the delivery or the assessment, right, that will be we'll be happy to answer, right? And thank you for my friends' questions regarding the using of R and about the examination mode and all that. I mean, these are very important questions that you probably need to know before even commence the lecture, right? Why not? Right. Okay, good. Are we all good? Any further questions? Right, good. One more thing, my friends, like, when I'm actually in my teachings, I never use presentations, right? I always use a blank paper. On the blank paper, I will write things, right? So I want you to take notes while progressing, right? Because I always believe that, when your hand works, your brain also works, right? So if I just, put a presentation and keep on reading, you might wonder what's happened in the lecture, but going beyond that, your mind will try to wander around so many other things, right? So just to ensure that we are on the same page with everything that we discussed, right? My style of teaching and delivery is that I take a blank paper and write things, and you can take the notes when you are progressing, right? Right. Um, yes, Mangala, thank you so much for your Mangala, right? Sorry, yes. Threads. Okay. Thank you so much for your question. Yes. Regarding the past papers, let me talk with the coordinator to see whether we can make it available. Anyhow, I'll be doing a revision towards the end, right? I'll be doing a revision towards the end. I will, let you know. I'll be kind of discussing about what are the types of questions that you are going to get, because again, you can have a look into the past papers, but every year I'm actually changing the paper structure, the presentation, the nature of the questions, and all that, right? So, so it's good to do some, questions before you come for the examination. So I will again try to ensure that you get ample questions before, maybe after each and every session, just to ensure that you are thorough with the concepts and the things that you want to test in the final examination, right? But maybe just looking into the prior past papers may be good but not sufficient, because as I mentioned, every I'm changing the nature, presentations, and the types of questions that I'm going to test with you, because in statistic you can do a lot of things, right? So I'm just trying to have a different version every year, so that I'll be doing a revision, but that revision is going to be important. In that revision, I'll be most probably, not probably, I'll be actually talking about the areas that will be testing in the final examination. So please don't miss that final, the revision that I'll be covering, that I'll be doing with all of you, right? Thank you, uh, Gayatri, for your question. That's a very good question indeed, right? Right. Uh, okay. Right. Right. So we will do something like this, right? So let me see, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, yes. So some of you may not have the access to the LMS. So LMS, as you correctly mentioned, may take sometimes maybe take another maybe week or two to to ensure that it's ready for you to access and all that, right? So what I will do is, I will upload my lecture materials, like my lecture notes, the notes that I will be doing with you all, into a shared folder, right? But as I mentioned, my recording will be actually recording the cloud. So I will, let's see whether I can share the link with you on that shared folder, right? So I will share a folder with you. On that shared folder, I will keep things in that shared folder until your LM is ready for you to access, right? Okay, right. Thank you so much. That's a very good question you're suggesting, right? Right. Good. Right, fantastic. Right, great, good. Any further questions, my friends, before we start? Right, seems to be all